19. Hopefully more will join. And the people who do not join, the reason they didn't join, they didn't know how much fun they're going to have. Otherwise, they would have all joined. So, we started in 2015. The idea was 2015 to start ACO. It came from Dr. Raj Bansal from Florida, which they already started in 2012. And the first ACO patient was enrolled in 2016. In 16, we didn't make money. We made 17 money. We celebrated in 18. In 18, we didn't make money. In 19, we made the Boku money. So this is the second celebration of Doctor's ACO. So for a lot of people who don't know about this Doctor's ACO, basically, the Doctor's ACO we started with Dr. Bansal's idea. He's a friend of mine, and he started multiple ACO. So at this point, see we can get Dr. Raj Bansal. Tell us a history, tell us a belief, and where he is going in future. Dr. Bansal. So while he's coming on the YouTube, we are basically live on YouTube. And anybody, anywhere want to join us, they can go to drsaco.org website, and then they can do on their cell phone if they want to, and just click go to meeting and join the meeting, and they should be in the meeting. And once they are in the meeting and they stay 70% of the time for the meeting, they will get awarded. And okay, so let me tell you what we will get Dr. Bansal a little later. What I want to tell you about one of the, let's get Dr. Gibson. We want to also celebrate life of Dr. Timothy Gibson, who passed away this year. He was 79 and great friend, a great supporter of Doctor's ACO. And basically, he is #1 ACO physician, earned more money than anybody else in 2019. So, a lot of people, when they pass away, they be quiet. So for him to celebrate his life, we're going to do a laughter yoga. So he basically born in Mississippi, grew up in Biloxi. Then he went to Vietnam War, 3 tour of Vietnam War. He got a Purple Heart and multiple other things. Then went to medical school in UAB, and then came to Winterville, where his brother was. And when I came to Athens, he was the first man who really helped me to become what I am today. He was a rebel. He went against the establishment and gave a try for a new guy like me. So if you don't know about laughing yoga, I'm going to teach you. Anybody from Dr. Gibson practice? No. Okay, maybe a little later. So it was, we lost him, but David told me that he's the top earner for Doctor's ACO. He saved more money than anybody else, and he got more money just single practice. Salute Dr. Gibson. The other physician who is very, very instrumental in starting ACO was Dr. Paul Haver, and he's not here today. He's fighting the illness, and hopefully he will be here on our next celebration. So let's see, David, what do we do next? Next slide. So this is what we're talking about. There are 80 days left. 80 days left to catch up, to get ready for celebration next year. That means COVID really did number on us, right? Our practice shut down, patient won't come up, and we had a tough time in the clinic. So a lot of things we could not do. So in 80 days, if we catch up that work, some extra people on it, get you quality data, AWE, all those things you can do in the next 80 days. I tell you what they will tell me, the number looking good. We might be able to celebrate again in October here. So please, crunch time. This is called crunch time. So get the crunch time, and when you go home from Monday onwards, we have incredible instrument called Care Tracker. David will tell you about that. I would recommend highly that everybody, every physician need to learn that. I've learned that myself. I know my login. I can go to my practice and I can say how much behind we are, what we need to be done. And as a physician leader, if you can learn that, you can help your practice and you can help Dr. SEO. So David, tell us about celebration, where we are.
Thank you, Dr. Agrawal. So the year's not over yet. Honestly, you finished the fourth quarter strong, so please do that. We're going to talk about a distribution of $6.6 million. If you work hard to finish the year, there's no reason why it won't be $10 million. But what we're going to talk about now is, how does the formula work? This is the doctor-owned and operated ACO, so we're very transparent about the numbers. So we're going to talk about this for you right this minute. First things first, you're a risk ACO. The 2017 payment that was paid in 18, you had to pay $3,500 out of your check in order to cover the required collateral to take risk. Medicare doesn't allow you to take risk on your word. They make you put $600,000 in a bank account. And if you don't perform, Medicare takes it. So in order for the ACO to go risk, in order to get 75% shared savings, $3,500 was taken out of each one of your checks. If you had 3 doctors, it was $10,500. And all of you looked at me funny when that happened. You said, oh, I'm taking risk. It's real. Well, the good news is that you performed. You believed in yourself and you performed. So for every $3,500 you put up, you're going to get $2,682. It's a 76% return on your investment. For those of you that invested more, you're going to get 76% return on that investment. So you'll get that today. That's very good news. For those of you that invested in yourself, you won. Congratulations. The $3,500 you put up is still there. So as long as we save money for the next 5 years, you're going to get that money back. In addition to that, in 2021, darn it, they make you wait 2 years. But because you were risk in 2019, you're going to get a check directly to your practice for 5% of your collections. So if you build Medicare $100,000, you're going to get another $5,000. If you build Medicare $300,000, you're going to get another $15,000. That's going to happen for 4 more years. So it's another benefit of being in the ACO. How do the financials work? They work like this. The ACO receives $6.6 million. You have to pay for expenses. You have to pay for the technology. You have to pay for the staff, the rent. The cost was $1.6 million. The reason why it was higher is because it paid for 2 years. If you save money every year, you only have to pay expenses for that year. But if you don't save money, you got to pay for the expenses of the previous year too. So it takes a little bit more out when you have an off year. After operating expenses, the profits were $5 million. The way it breaks down is 50% of the profits go to the participants. 30% go to the original investors that invested back in 2014. And then 20% goes back to you. So the money that we collected from you, that was called an RM investment. So you're getting paid on that 20%. So technically you're getting 70% of the shared savings after expenses. Bear with me, we're getting there, and then here in another 45 minutes, you'll be getting your payments. How does the breakdown work? The $2.5 million that goes to the practices, 20% is equal. Every full-time PCP and specialist gets an equal payment. You can see that's a relatively small amount of the pool. Every single practice gets a patient payment. So if you have 100 patients, you get twice as much if you have 50 patients. And then most of the money comes from the savings. You got to pay very close attention. When Brian and Rochelle come to your office, the first question should be, am I saving? Because if you're saving, you're going to be much happier this time around when we're distributing checks. If you're a specialist, you can get higher of the two. It's very rare, but some pulmonologists, some cardiologists, they do act as a primary care doctor, and the formula does account for that. And then very important, there's now 5% that's been held to reward those of you to come to meetings. So everybody that comes to this meeting, if you're a doctor, you get paid $200. If you're online virtually, you'll also be paid. Nurse practitioners, PAs, $150, and then staff, $100. Please bring as many staff as you can. There's budget for it. We want you to participate. We want you to increase your shared savings. So we are very happy to pay you for being here. Covered that. The model's going to change a little bit for next year. So there's quite a few doctors that aren't here right now. And under the current formula, they would get paid. The board didn't like that. They said, we want to pay you. So instead of 20% being equal, it's now been adjusted to 10%, and that leaves more money for these meetings to pay you. So Dr. Agrawal's been having more meetings. You'll get paid for all meetings. You just have to look and say, is this a paid meeting before? Okay, you're going to get your check today. I want to speed you up. For every full-time physician, it's going to be $5,900. If you have 2 physicians, you're looking at $11,800. Paid per patient at $38. So if the practice has 150 patients, you're looking at $5,800. So if the practice saves no money, you don't want to be there, but if the practice saves no money, you'll be receiving a check of about $11,700. Now let's get to the savings. This is the most important thing. Always talk about your savings. The way it works is you have a benchmark. It's made up of regional, historical. We'll get to that. You have your PMPM. Always know what your PMPM is. That is your performance. If you take the difference between your benchmark and your PMPM, that is your savings. You multiply that by the number of patients you have, that's your total savings. If at any time your PMPM is going up, your check is going down. If at any time your panel is going down, your check is going down. So when the consultants come to your office, make sure you're getting that information. Too often we have these meetings and the doctors are surprised. We give you the reports every single month. You should never be surprised. Based on the amount that you save, so in this case, $300,000. If the total savers, if all the doctors in the room save $3 million, $300,000 is 10%. The shared savings pool, if it's $1 million and you're 10%, you will individually receive an extra $100,000. 11,000 is very small compared to 100,000. So you have to save if you want to get the higher compensation. Most of you save, but some of you don't. But this is how the ACO can pay you more money. The benchmark has changed. It used to be that you were compared to yourself. Medicare looked at how the costs of your patients were before you were in the ACO. They said, this is what it would have been if the doctor wasn't in the ACO. That's what they compare you to. That's the benchmark. As the years have progressed, it has not been historical. It's been regional. So what they do now is they compare you to your peers. So if you're an above average physician and you're not really improving, you can still get a very nice shared savings payment. The really nice thing about the regional benchmark is you can see it at any time. It's public information. So if you go on Blue Sky right this minute, you can look up what your regional benchmark is. If your PMPM is above your regional benchmark, you are not in good shape. We look at these reports and we always try to warn you, we try to tell you where you stand so you're not surprised. So if the paper report you received today has a green light, that means you're doing better than region and you'll probably do very well. If it has red light, you got to work hard to finish off the year to get it to be where you can receive shared savings. And then it's always in Blue Sky here for you. It's under the module called County Expenditures. Just ask Brian, Rochelle, or Neil, and they'll show you how to get to that. Okay, serious conversation. Let's all be very focused right now. This is the most important part. I want to go through 3 practices. I've been doing this now for 8 years, and it usually takes a physician 1 bad year for them to fully understand the formula, okay? The goal is that you're not going to have a great year every single year. It just doesn't work that way. But if you can have 3 or 4 good years out of 5, you're a superstar. Here are some real examples. In 2015, this practice had 440 patients, $730 PMPM. The following year, which this is the ACO year, panel went down, cost went up. Did they do well? No, they didn't do well. The next year, panel went down more, costs went up. How's that? Not good. This year, panel went up, costs went down a ton. Look at how much they're saving money from before. Medicare is very happy with this, saving money. How do you think they did that last year? Here's their payment. 2016, 20,000. 2017, 28,000. 2019, 124,000. Please, please pay attention to these numbers because they absolutely translate to these meetings. Another practice. Started off 258 patients, 749. Increased the panel, 290. Decreased cost. Is this good? Very good. Increased it even more. Dropped costs. How about this one? This one gets 2 green boxes. Look at where they are now. 264, 723. It's not terrible. It's still better than where it was, right? Look at these payments. 115,000, 158,000. It's nice to have 2 green boxes. And then this year is not terrible. The average physician payment's about 25,000, so it's still good. But absolutely, the performance of the practice translates to the payment. These consultants are here for you to answer these questions. Last example. This is a high Medicaid practice, socioeconomic differences. So the benchmarks are a little bit higher, but this is a real practice. 74 patients, cost in 2015, $1,600. Every practice has their own benchmark. Every practice has their own cost. 2016, 81 patients. Is this good? They reduced costs by 30%. It's unbelievable. The following year, still pretty good, right? It's, reduced costs by 25%. But look at 2019, 65 patients, so they dropped, and then look at how the cost jumped from here. Is it good now? So this practice, 110,000, 124,000, 8,400. So don't let your performance surprise you. Don't let your payment surprise you. If you get one of these very good payments, reinvest, hire staff, make sure you're paying attention because these payments will stop if your performance stops. So we just want to make sure we communicate. Everything's transparent, but if you can get control of these numbers, you can get the high payments every single year. The number was 6.6 million. There's no reason why it can't be 10 million. We usually finish the last quarter of the year the strongest, and often we can double shared savings. We're going to hear from Brian and Rochelle on just how to do that. Thank you very much.
What David has said, I just want to know if people understand that or not. Because unless physicians get involved in looking at these numbers and they just come to the meeting to get the check, they're not going to understand that. Really, they're not going to understand that. So I would recommend that please, please, please invest your time to become a smart physician. Smart physician is that you know whether you're making money or losing money. You know whether your benchmark, and then invest in your people. And I tell you, you're going to see the reward like this, $124,000 for a year. So that I want to bring that to the regional benchmark, learn about that. And the regional benchmark is basically, that's why we start doing MRA coding. And you need to learn that to make sure that because they don't teach this in medical school. So nobody going to teach you unless you start thinking seriously. So learn about MRA and start coding your patients and teaching your MA to make sure everything patient has is recorded as we talk about on those classes. If you have not joined those classes, they are available on the website and they will be available on YouTube. You can go through that comfort of your home. So smart physician. So let me tell you, the way the things are changing, if you don't change with time, you're going to be working for hospital. If you want to stay independent, you got to be smart. Smart means learn about MRA, smart, learn about benchmark, learn about whether you're making money compared to your benchmark. And if you're not, then make changes. Thank you.
Well, hello. I am Brian Edwards. I am the Atlanta area provider consultant. I see a lot of fresh faces there. And this is Rochelle Gordon.
Hello, I am the Athens and the Columbus consultant. I recently just took over the Columbus practices, and so if I haven't seen you or met you in person yet, hello. I do recognize a few familiar faces though from the Athens and also from the Columbus, so thank you for joining us. Today, Brian and I are going to go over a little bit about crunch time.
So crunch time is this quarter. It's right now. It's October until the end of the year. The most important time of the year, because with COVID and how COVID has messed everything up, from staffing to patients not wanting to come in to creating a new normal, right now we have a chance to correct that. So do the federal stimulus in urgency to help the public. Expect payment amounts to be higher this year than they were last year. There's money there to help our patients. COVID-related admissions, all expenses for that month, for that patient, are removed from the ACO performance. Here is our Doctors ACO projected reconciliation. If we use crunch time correctly, we can get to 10 million. We're at 6 million right now. It doesn't take a lot for us to get to 10. Hopefully everybody in here is familiar with Care Tracker. If you are not, please call us. Let us know immediately. We will come to your office. We will train your staff. We'll train you. We'll train your providers. Care Tracker is a wonderful, wonderful tool to utilize in your office.
I do want to recognize some of our practices that have utilized Care Tracker, especially in the Athens area. Some of them have actually completed all of their action items, so they've done amazing. One practice in particular is Dr. Zant's office. Jenny has been working day in and day out on her patients, so I do have to congratulate you. And then also, yes.
Yes, please.
Also, we have Michelle here from Dr. Haber's clinic. And again, they have done very, very phenomenal job on going in, completing all of those action items. But with, completion of the action items, of course, it's come up that it's helping with scheduling some of these annual wellness visits. Of course, we will have other reports uploaded in as well. And David is actually going to touch base a little bit more on the Care Tracker here in a moment.
Care Tracker is an efficient replacement for the ACO when we were delivering you papers, when we were emailing you papers. This takes all of that. That takes your high-risk, high-cost patients, your ED frequent flyers, your annual wellness visits, all those patients, and put them in one portal. So your front desk or your mid-level who's working those reports can see, hey, this person is not falling through the cracks. Outreach is another huge benefit to the ACO. Outreach is a comprehensive home visit program designed to offer additional care to patients who can't make it into the office, who have barriers to care. We can get a provider into their home to be a second set of eyes, a second set of hands, a second ear to hear what's going on with them. And that's what we can do to provide better health care. Finish 2020 strong. If you have any questions about Care Tracker, about outreach, please let us know. Let Neil know. Let somebody know. We are here to help you guys.
Let's go back to the slide, $6 million. What we need to do to make $10 million? In annual wellness visit, what we need to do?
So right now, we got to go back to the basics. We have to go back to closed loop scheduling, to making sure everybody who comes to your clinic has an appointment going out, right? We've got to complete our annual wellness visits. We can still use telehealth. Use it. Utilize your resources. Use Care Tracker, not only to schedule the appointment from October to December, but schedule next year too. Get their appointment on the books for next year. Use your TCM. Right? When patients are discharged from the hospital, call them up. Use your TCM codes. Use your telehealth visits. Use Focus. Use your resources that are available to you in order for us to reach that $10 million goal and be here next year celebrating.
Of course, with flu season, that's just right around the corner. Of course, with COVID as well, we really can't predict what's going to happen. But I know a lot of my practices are preparing, and so again, if you're ensuring that, especially if you have some patients that are not wanting to come into the practice, let's say for their annual wellness visit, or they're scared that they don't want to leave their home. This is a great opportunity then to reach out to myself or Brian, and then we can get you in touch with the outreach providers. We have an outreach provider, Dr. Plaster, who does Focus up in the Athens area. Dr. Castillo also does outreach, and so he is also offered to assist with any of those patients that may be outside of the area for Dr. Plaster to actually treat. We're working really, really hard right now to get a provider in the Columbus area as well. And so once we have that for any of the Columbus providers, I will certainly be able to assist with getting those patients referred. But again, like Brian said, really focusing on capturing those TCM visits when the patients are discharged from inpatient status, ensuring that those annual wellness visits are being completed, especially towards the end of the year. I know that you're going to be seeing Brian and I a lot in these next couple of months, but that's just because we're here to help you, and we want to see all of our practices succeed. If there's anything that you need from us at any time, that you can text us, that you can call us. And so, yeah.
Come on, Dr. Armadale is here. Okay. David, where is David? Okay, David, come on up here. So, I'm the physician leader. I'm looking at this number, and I got 80 days left. If I invest, I hire a staff to catch up my AWV, catch up my other things, and invest $10,000. Do you think I can make 20, 30, 40 extra?
Absolutely.
So tell me about that a little bit.
It's a tough time to hire staff, but if you can pull it off, now is the time of the year where you can double your savings. So Care Tracker gives you a very easy list of business. This is not work, it's patients that you're going to bill for. If you can fill your clinic with high-risk patients' annual wellness visits, it'll more than double, triple the investment that you have in staff. If you've been on the bubble to hire a provider, you're too full, right? There's tens of thousands of dollars of patient opportunity for appropriate visits for you to schedule with that provider and finish the year. So definitely investment could get to 10 million and the practice to 6 figures. Yes, sir.
Right. So that's the way I like physician leaders to think about. This 80 days will make big money. If you're behind, if you like 10%, 20%, 30% AWP, I say, listen, you have only done 50%. If you get from 50 to 90% in this 80 days, that will be a big check coming up. Is that right, David?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that's the way physicians need to look at it. Okay. Go ahead.
Hi, this is Dr. Parani from Lifeline Primary Care. I had a question about the outsource. And my question was that until last year, we have been hearing this is only for traditional Medicare. Are we able to, use that for the Medicare Advantage programs yet or not?
We will talk about that. Okay. So I really want you to do that. We are the elite of the ACL, saving that kind of money. So you could do it. With just 80 days, please tighten your belt, catch it up, and get your AWV, get your quality data together in 80 days. Thank you. Go ahead.
Care Tracker, again, is in everybody's office. If you need help learning how to use it, physicians, front desk staff, mid-levels, please let us know. We're trying to get 35 patients a week. Last week, I went into an office. They'd had some staffing issues. They'd lost over 70% of their staff because of COVID. They'd lost a provider because of COVID. I trained them on Monday. They were able to get 50 actions completed in 3 days. Their staff is amazing. They're also a team of people who on a Saturday came in and did nothing but annual wellness visits all day on a Saturday to get caught up because they needed that extra time. They did telehealth visits, they did in person. These 80 days are very important. Outreach, we have an Atlanta outreach provider who can go all over Metro Atlanta. Rochelle has one down in Athens. We're working on one in Columbus. It is a wonderful tool to help benefit your patients. If you have any questions, please let us know. Let's finish 2020 strong.
All right, so Care Tracker. Oh man, another program I have to log into. That is not what it's for. We do not bring you more work, we bring you less work. We're here to help you. We had a pretty significant crisis. So we would click a button and it would print out 100 paper reports. Okay, the consultants would drive to your office. Maybe they do 4 a day. If you're early on that list, that report's 2-3 days old. If you're late on that list, that report is 6 weeks, 8 weeks old. So we had a lot of latency on the reports. Practices are busy. There's really a lot of great staff. You're great staff. How do I know that? You're here. There are hundreds of other staff that aren't here. And sometimes when the reports were delivered, they went in the round file. They weren't worked. They weren't worked like you work your reports. So you wonder where some of your shared savings is? It's because the other practices are not working their reports. So we had this crisis where some people were working them, some people weren't. So we created Care Tracker. So we used to deliver paper reports. We used to deliver them late. And we used to deliver 4 reports where the same patient could be on each report, right? We consolidated all that. We don't kill trees with paper anymore. And now we deliver the Care Tracker. Day 1 of the quarter, you have all of your reports. If you work that patient, that's an ER frequent flyer, drop patient, annual wellness visit, you are completely done for that entire quarter. It would have taken you 3 or 4 times that work with the paper because they would have kept on bringing the paper with the same patient's name on it. The other thing is when the practices worked the reports, it was very easy to miss a patient. So you call the patient and they don't pick up. You put called left message. Very low chance to call that patient back. I mean, only the most sophisticated of offices keep really detailed notes. They keep the stack of paper. 2 days later, they go back to the stack of paper. They call. God forbid it's called left message 2 times. Forget about it. So there were a significant amount of patients that were just lost because the paper was inefficient. Care Tracker allows you to efficiently manage your workflow. You talk to the patient, they say, I'm out of the country, I'll be back in 3 days. You put call back in 3 days, comes off your list. Tomorrow, not on your list. 2 days from now, not on your list. 3 days from now, they're back on your list. Very, very efficient. You can work it mindlessly. It's so much better than the paper. The patient won't come off your list until you reach them. So called left message 3 times, you got bad contact information. You got to call the emergency contact potentially. They're not coming in to see their physician. That is an emergency. You got to call the secondary contact. You got to use a different phone number. This allows you to not leave any patients behind. Sometimes it's misunderstood. So Brian, Rochelle, Neil, they come to your office. The staff says, this is more work. This is more business. 350 patients on this report is $26,000. Sometimes the staff might say, I don't know if I want the clinic to be really busy. That might not be so fun for me. So make sure there's no disconnect. Care Tracker is more business for your office. It selects the right patients that need to come in, the ones that are high risk that'll increase your savings, and it's going to help your business. So please make sure that your staff is also on the same page with you. We offer them a ton of support. We'll even work the reports for you. But please, let's get aligned on this very important initiative. True story. I asked one of our staff members, I said, hey, how's it going with Care Tracker? Oh, it's great. I said, that's awesome. We looked in the report the following day. 0 for the last week. And we came back, we said, hey, what did that, you said it was great. Oh, I've been under so much pressure and, you know, so a lot of personal issues, but you don't know until you see the report. So you can't manage what you can't measure. Please, you can use Care Tracker to reward your staff. Maybe you have a staff member that says they're doing a lot of work, but then you have a quiet staff member that's doing all the work. Care Tracker will tell you exactly who's working to allow you to keep up with your patients and to reward the right people. Dr. Parikh, one of our top physicians, he emails us and says, how many patients did the call center schedule for me? Now he just goes into Care Tracker. He doesn't take our word for it. We could have said 1,000. Now he knows because all of the information is there for him. We take this super seriously. So we know if we work every single one of our patients 4 times a year, we can get to 10 million. So our staff is accountable. So they're reaching out to you. They're increasing resources with Miranda. We're hiring a additional staff for the call center. We're going to make sure that all of these reports are worked. Some of you are doing great. Some of you are falling behind. The consultants will keep calling. They're going to keep calling. And when they're done calling, physicians are going to be calling because they have questions about, are they going to lose their shared savings payment because your office is falling behind? So this is a really great opportunity for you to perfectly understand the work, save time, be more efficient in your office, and definitely increase your savings. You've got 2 options. You can work the reports yourself. You guys, you're here. You're our top performers. Thank you, Rochelle, for pointing out some of you are just absolutely amazing. But if you can't keep up, we're happy to do it for you. If you don't do it and we don't do it for you, that's really bad. So you got to choose one of those 2 options. We're all going to succeed in this room. So please, the number here for the support center is available. Call and sign up. We're hiring additional staff. Or please call your consultant. We're going to make sure that we succeed at following our patients. Thank you, Dr. Agrawal.
Thank you, David. I just had a great idea. So we're willing to give you $1,000 per physician if we can learn Care Tracker and follow that on monthly basis. Do you think that's a good deal?
Yes, sir. We'll get it approved by the board.
Yeah. So he's scared.
I'm very scared.
What I'm trying to tell you, if you learn Care Tracker and work on it, you're going to make book money for yourself. I'm 100% sure. So it will help the ACO, it will help your practice, it will help your paycheck at the ACO next year. So I'm willing to even give, or we go to the board and we'll ask them, say, what about I give you $1,000 for your time to learn Care Tracker and stay on top of it for next 80 days. What do you think?
That's great.
What do you think? That's a good idea? You take it? So let's pass it, and if it doesn't happen, because I start using the Care Tracker, it's awesome. It can tell you whether your people working or not working. They're doing it every week, and how behind you are, what you need to do. And it's a technology. If we don't use it, we won't be smart enough. Dr. Goshen, have you seen the Care Tracker? You have? Okay, thank you. That's what I'm going to say. Yep. Okay. All right. So we're going fast.
Dr. Bansal, sorry.
Dr. Bansal ready. So let's put Dr. Bansal. Everybody know Dr. Bansal? Okay. So everybody know Dr. Bansal. Bansal is basically now manages a large number of ACOs from his Oceanside home in Jupiter. Dr. Bansal, could you come up and tell us about what we doing right and what we need to do to get to and follow your track in Palm Beach ACO?
Hello, everyone. Wow, what a great meeting. I see the attendance. Everyone looks great. It's so nice of you all.
Dr. Bansal, you're muted, so you need to unmute yourself.
1 second. I am unmuted.
Now you're right. Okay. You're okay now.
Okay, so you can hear me. Hello, everyone. I see the all of you there. It's an amazing show. It's thanks for everyone to go there. So everyone is pleased, and thanks to all of you, not because of us, because of you. All the savings are achieved by you. We are there just to help guide and move it along. We bring technology, as we discussed. We are bringing Care Tracker now, and hopefully that will help in future. Subodh already talked about MRA, which will be a boost for us. And if there is any problem, you let us know. Kerry Trishock has done 4 sessions, and again, it's brainchild of Subodh. And David helps design all these teaching slides and teaching sessions, which is wonderful. So I must congratulate you all. So then question comes, what else are we doing and what else is in store? So I want to tell you, we'll continue to deal with the technology that we are doing, number one. Number two, the CMS continues to give us tools and better tools. Believe it or not, but Medicare fee-for-service will be almost as good as an Advantage plan within the next 4 to 5 years, if we continue to tap it, and that's what will happen. There are some people who still think that if we keep saving money, a stage will come when we won't save it. So I want to just give you a very simple explanation why it is not true. Number one, managed care plans, and I can prove that to you because I have a big MSO, their expenses run almost at 50% of fee-for-service. So, and they still make money at 50%, quite a bit of money. You have seen their stock, you can see how much profit they make. So even at 50% expense of Medicare fee-for-service, they will continue to make money. Now, we don't reduce our expenses so fast. We may reduce 6% a year. But mind you, every year inflation adds up, almost 3% a year. So if we started this 5-year program last year, and suppose our benchmark, we know exactly what our benchmark is, but for the sake of just calculating it, if we say it was $1,000, next year, 3% will be added, so it becomes 1,030, and so on. By the 5th year, we would have added close to another 20% to the benchmark, okay? So even if we keep reducing, we probably end up with a similar benchmark even year 5. So there is so much room to keep going down. We could be 30, 40 years into ACO and still not reach to the proportion of the Advantage plans. So what is in the store with that tomorrow? That's why CMS realizes it. They will give us better tools. They will make our ACOs behave like an MSO or an Advantage plan. They will give us tools. They did give tools, and then they took it away because of some other reason, where we can negotiate prices with imaging centers, with hospitals, and so forth, like the HMOs do. So there is so much more to achieve. And it's a great tool for everyone to stay independent. You know, there was a time when hospitals were grabbing up all the practices. I see a lot of my colleagues up north, and now they ask us to come and help them with the ACO, because these hospitals don't give anything, buy your practices for basically free, just, you know, a few dollars, and then they always run in a loss. They will always show to you that there is hardly any profit, but that's absolutely not true. So if we can keep all our physicians independent, if they are desperate, you let us know, let Subodh know, somebody know, we can come and help them. I want to tell you something more. At least the practices in our Palm Beach, they are selling at a quite high price, and partly that is because of the ACO money. As you know, Palm Beach ACO has been very successful. So if a physician makes extra $100,000 in 1 year from the ACO money, that is taken into account as part of EBITDA, you know, EBI TDA, which is the money that you save after all the expenses and which is sellable. And they are selling almost at 5 to 7 times the EBITDA. So if somebody saved from ACO $100,000, when they go to sell the practice, it may add between $500,000 to $700,000 to the sale price. This phenomenon will gradually come to every place in America. It will happen. It may happen in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. So please, my request to you is, do as much as you can do. You can make more money from the ACO than from your fee-for-service. We have some practices here. They make more money from the ACO than in their own fee-for-service, and they continue to do the fee-for-service. Mind you, ACO doesn't spare money. ACO wants you to make more money from fee-for-service, because the money that we save is from hospital, be it from home health, from nursing homes, and from other areas rather than physician. So that's why we remind you that do more physicals, annual physicals, do more TCM, do CCM, because all these things puts money directly in your pocket, but at the same time, it helps to reduce hospitalization, rehospitalization, and that cascade of expenses that are associated with each hospitalization, including nursing homes and home health. So again, to recap, there is so much more for us to achieve together. There is so much more money to be made and quality to be improved that it will continue to make us all proud. Thank you very much.
Bansal didn't tell you that Palm Beach ACO is the #1 ACO in the country. They save more money than any other ACO in the country. They save $48 million for their physician. So we basically are here because Dr. Bansal thought that we should open ACO in Georgia. Who's next? Okay, Dr. Plaster. So who want to introduce Dr. Plaster? You want to do it? Go ahead. Yeah.
Is she on yet, Daryl? Okay, so Dr. Plaster, she is also, she's the main provider over at our family health, or I'm sorry, not our family health center. I just drew a blank on her practice name. Well, it is for focus. She does have it, but she's also a part of our ACO. Her and Dr. Kirkland started the outreach program in the Athens area. And with this program, she is able to, again, assist patients that need more care. And so essentially, they have a provider that's going in home. They're treating these patients in their home, which is also helping reduce costs. Dr. Plaster has, I believe, over 100 patients from the Athens area, providers that have referred directly to her. Is she on? Can I?
Am I on? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Rochelle? I think they were unmuting me. All right, click there.
This week, so I want to thank you to the participants that did join during that. Dr. Plaster did a phenomenal job at answering questions and then also addressing the main benefits of outreach. I will go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Plaster.
Hi, can you all hear me? Are we good?
Yes, Michelle, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Agrawal. I just want to take a quick moment and thank Dr. Agrawal for that wonderful dedication to Dr. Gibson. And I am thrilled that Laura and Stephen are working with us through Focus, and thrilled to hear that Dr. Gibson was the top performer, an amazing physician that will be so dearly missed. I want to tell you a little bit about our program here, and we can go past this slide. Thank you. So really what we're looking at in physician and patient outreach is, who are we not able to help in the traditional healthcare model? Who are the patients that while they sit in front of us, we know we are not able to meet their needs, and they're going to be expensive, and there's going to be other issues because of that. Next slide, please. So this is a little bit about me, and Rochelle, you were correct. It's Our Family Health Center is our clinic in Monroe, Georgia. And the most important thing really to know about me is that I'm a primary care doc. I'm a family medicine doc, and the majority of my time is set in the clinic trying to take care of patients. And I understand that some patients just simply fall through the cracks because our revolving door that we did not set up, but we are stuck with trying to do the best we can in medicine, does not always take care of everyone. So Focus is here to help you with those kind of patients. Next slide, please. This slide is a reminder that 5% of the patients cost 50% of the money. And we know we get these reports from the ACO that identify our most expensive patients. And I started Focus really with working with the ACO because when I got these reports, I didn't know what to do. I knew these patients were expensive, but I was feeling like I had to drop services to drop cost. And then I wrapped my brain around the idea that actually more services and better services is how we drop cost. And we can actually take better care of these patients and make sure that we are figuring out what their barriers to care are. And that's where we really drop cost. Next slide, please. And this is just a little bit to look at how we could actually drop cost by identifying just the small percentage of patients that are on those lists that need extra attention and making sure we get them that extra attention through the ACO. Next slide, please. Here are the patients that we should be looking for. Patients who have been utilizing the emergency rooms, maybe inappropriately or frequently. Patients who have had hospitalizations, or as a PCP, the patient who's sitting in front of me and I know that the diabetes is out of control, the blood pressure's high, and I'm not sure what medicines they're actually swallowing at home. I'm not sure what's going on for them in their home. And I just know that things aren't going well for them medically. And I'm not sure how in every 3-month visits, because that's all they can get to me in the office, I don't know how I can give them everything they need. Those are the patients that we're really looking to identify. Next slide, please. This is a little bit of some survey. We keep reaching out to patients, and the Palm Beach ACO through the the patient outreach they do reaches out to their patients, and the patients love the program. I think now is a good time. A lot of the barrier, I've talked to quite a few of ACO doctors, and a lot of the barrier is getting patients to understand that you want to send another doctor out into their home. And so how do we get into their house? Once we get into their house, they love the program. But if I could just give you some suggestion on some verbiage that you may use, I'll use my friend Dr. Bond, who has referred to our program frequently. So if I were calling on behalf of Dr. Bond and his staff, I would say, Dr. Bond has identified that there may be extra resources that you could greatly benefit from. He would like to send out a medical doctor or nurse practitioner to see you in your home to help him out, to give him a little bit of extra insight into what you need and to help make healthcare easier for you, because Dr. Bond really wants to take the best care of you, and he thinks that this would be a referral that would help. And then we work with Dr. Bond to take care of his patients, getting him information after every visit. He gets a visit note. My staff calls his staff to update him on all his patients. And these patients still go in and see him at their every 3 or 6 month visits, whatever is going to work for the patient and Dr. Bond. But we're bridging the gaps in between those visits. Next slide, please. So 92% of patients are satisfied with the program and feel like the program has given them something that may have been missing in traditional care. Next slide. So when we look at what these patient outreach programs like Focus is able to do, we help the patients, we keep them out of the emergency room. We all know our patients who have CHF or COPD, and we keep asking them, please call me when you first get short of breath or when you gain 2 or 3 pounds on the scale. But they don't. They just keep showing up in the hospital because they may not have the medical insight, and we need to get out and see them more often and have more touch points with them so that if they're not catching this, we are. So we can help the patients and stay ahead of their chronic diseases and prevent those hospitalizations, and most importantly, keep them healthy at home. When we do better for the patients, we do better for cost. When we identify where the patients aren't getting what they need, we reduce cost. And then we help the Medicare Trust and we help the ACO. Next slide, please. To enroll any patients into Focus, you're just going to reach out to Brian and Rochelle, and they will step you through the process. We at Focus will reach out to your patient and tell them about the program. You just introduce it to them so that they know that we're not some kind of scammer calling them, so that they'll welcome our phone call. And then we start seeing them. I do want to bring up a couple of ways we can help you in coronavirus pandemic. If you're not able to get your Medicare wellness visits because the patient just simply won't leave their house, we are happy to go out and just do the Medicare wellness visit and then encourage them to communicate or do virtual visits or whatever works for them in your office to stay in touch with you. But we can give them their pneumovax, give them their flu shot, get that Cologuard out, whatever checks the boxes for their preventive stuff, and we can do that in the home. We are testing our in-home providers for coronavirus weekly, and we are reassuring patients that we are testing the providers, that we are happy to meet you on your front porch or do an outside visit, whatever people are comfortable with, and we stay over 6 feet back with the short exception of to do the physical exam. And so whatever we can do to help make sure that people aren't being forgotten during the pandemic, and if you have patients who are getting sicker but they won't come in to see you or it's not safe for them to, we'll get out there and be your right and left hand in their home and keep them well until it's safe for them to get back to your clinic. Next slide, please. So how to identify the best potential patients, we've kind of overviewed this. Brian and Rochelle will help you. And then I just want to welcome everyone. If you have questions or concerns, because this is something new to your office or something that you're maybe not comfortable with yet, please get my cell number from Dr. Agrawal or from Brian and Rochelle. I welcome any phone calls. I'm happy to speak with you directly and let you know the best ways for us to work together to take care of these ACO members. Next slide. Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity to speak today. Please reach out to us. Let us help. Let's really, I am excited to get to these goals for this year and finish this crunch time strong. And I just want to finish by saying thank you to our ACO leadership. In 2020, we all need something to celebrate, and getting these checks from the ACO is coming at an amazing time to really help kind of give us some extra energy to finish this tough year. Thank you so much.
Think clear about focus. And David can add on this. See, initially people thought that why my patient had to go to another doctor. You know, there was a time where family physician used to deliver the baby and do the gallbladder surgery. And those days are changing. It's a paradigm shift. And with that, what we need to change our mind. So if the patient is sick and going to the hospital every other week or every month, and they're not going to come to your office. So if you're not going to provide them care, let me tell you what's going to happen. David, how do you remember last night we were sitting and we asking Dr. Casio, what is PMPM? And he didn't know what that is, because that's about the state of mind. If you're a smart physician, you need to know what is your PMPM is. And David, how do we find out how to PMPM is? You go to Blue Sky and find out. And then suddenly you need to learn how to reduce the PMPM, right? If you have 100 patients, out of 100 patients, 5 patients going to hospital and every time, go to ER every time, and you're going to see most expensive these patients. So you got to do something about them. If you don't do that something about those PMPM, if you ask Dr. Plaster to take care of those patients, the next month, the month after, 3 months after, you'll see that your PMPM gone down. Is that true? Yeah. So, am I making sense? So that to become a smart physician, learn your practice, and then same thing will happen. Your whole practice is going to change. You're going to become a high quality, low cost physician if you follow these rules. So the focus is here to stand. Like the ER physician, like the hospitalist. There were no hospitalists about 10 years ago. The idea of hospitalist was totally new. The idea of ER physician was totally new about 30 years ago. So the idea of focus is very new, and we need to learn from it. You want to add anything to how to decrease PMPM? That's the way to decrease PMPM. What's next? Go ahead. Next. Okay. So what I want to talk about future. I can tell you, I was thinking about what we will. No, we let me take, then we will answer all your questions, all questions. Okay. So future is bright, but you got to really stand strong as an independent physician. The future is bright for independent physician, and it was tough early. If you joined the ACO, now in ACO, most of our physician now is high quality, low cost physician, and those physicians are sought by all insurance company and Advantage plan. So the question is how you can grow in your ACO and how ACO can turn into gold. So I'm going to tell you about that, what future is. So let's next slide. The next question is, what is the difference between a fee-for-service patient compared to a capitated patient? The Advantage program will come to your practice. Listen, give us all your patients, turn them into capitation. We give you $100 per patient per month. So you're going to get fixed money, whether the patient come and see you or not. That's a great deal. So the question is it a really great deal? So that's what I want to show you here, which you probably cannot read from here. So I'm going to read it one by one. So this slide show you that fee-for-service can make you the fee-for-service can make you 3 times more than PMPM, which your Advantage plan will give you. If you do annual wellness visit $170, transitional care one time in a year is $280. Chronic care management, you get about $480. If you do remote patient monitoring, you get $1,500 per year per patient. Advanced care planning, just one time you get $80, and office visit, 4th visit a year, you get about $480. So you put and multiple counseling you do. So you just do what Medicare wants you to do. Good care. See the patient, just no testing, no extra work, no unnecessary procedure, nothing. You can make significant amount of money, like almost $294 per patient per month. And then you multiply that, suppose you have 250 patients. And you get like, can you see that number? Probably cannot. So out of 250 patients with 30% no show, you want to make 50% your overhead. So we exclude the, and it's available on the YouTube. You can see that later on. 50% overhead. You would take home pay for 250 patients will be $308, $308,000 compared to $150,000. So what I'm trying to tell you, protect your patient from going from fee-for-service to Advantage care plan. And this is the logic behind it. It's okay to have Advantage plan, one plan to another plan. That's totally fine. You do it that way, but don't change your patient from fee-for-service, or at least tell them if you go from fee-for-service to Advantage care plan, you're selling your freedom from Medicare freedom to Advantage care freedom. Next slide. So what do you get? This is, I didn't know about this relationship. I think David told me, if you have a patient, if you have a plan, you're in the plan, you have 250 patients in that plan, and tomorrow plan said, okay, we don't want you in our plan. So what happened? Who is the doctor for those 250 patients, which you have taken care for 20 years? What happened to those patients? They go with the plan. So you're selling, if you're selling your relationship with your patient to relationship to Advantage plan. So basically, who profit? Who profit from this business? As Dr. Bansal was pointing out, they make money. Advantage care plan make money. They make a lot of money. So last 2019, Humana made $4 billion. in Advantage plan alone.
Stop.
Yes, they will.
I have
You know why?
patients getting calls every month
You know
to
why?
switch to Advantage
Because
plan.
every time they turn from free for service to Advantage, they get $1,000.
Right.
So they're gonna make money, a lot of money. So basically, there is nobody selling fee for service to the patient. Nobody defending. Nobody. It's just like smoking. The cigarette
Right.
manufacturer take the advertisement, but non-smoking people didn't say anything. So that basically is an uncontrolled sale. So you as a physician, at least participate talking to your patient. So what's coming in future? Next slide. Okay, next slide. So what coming in future? That the Palm Beach ACO success has created a great number of patients who are high quality, low cost physician. So instead of going to the insurance, they say we're going to create our own insurance. So the physician owned insurance plan is coming up in Palm Beach this year. So they're going to enroll Medicare Advantage patients from all Advantage plan to their plan, if possible. And most of the benefit will stay in the plan for the physician. So this is a brainchild of Arthur Hansen, and David is helping that. And so whatever David and those Palm Beach people do, we will do that here. It may come in 2022 or 2023, depending upon that. Just imagine all of us owning the insurance plan, insurance company ourselves. We will raise funds and we will call you maybe in about 6 months. I think they raised in Palm Beach about $12 million, and see your history. Where do you get a 30% per year return from your investment? I mean, I was asking my son, I said, do we have a company, anywhere in the company would give you 30%, like 75% of return? Everybody heard that? Bernie Madoff. This is not a Ponzi scheme. So basically, it's amazing. You know, Dr. Wingate spent $10,000 in 2018 and now 75% in return is $10,000 still there. So what I'm trying to tell you that the future of independent physician and Dr. ACO is bright. We would like you to consider investing in physician-owned companies or company you own your company. Keep your patients with you in fee for service and learn, become a smart physician. So a smart physician, in my definition, will know how to read blue sky. They will know how to decrease or increase their PMPM. They know how it's going up. The smart physician will know how to learn their practice, what we're doing with the care tracker. A smart physician will invest in their own company, physician-owned company. Thank you. So what we're gonna do is, what we plan is we have a great lunch downstairs, and then before the lunch, and you get your money. So you're gonna get money, and make sure in person as well as on virtually, you make sure you're registered. You have put your name and your email and your cell phone, so Don can give you money. And Gar will give you money. Don't go home without taking money. So if you if you're a physician, you're gonna get 200. If you're a nurse practitioner, you get 150 cash. And I think you have a cash, is that right? Yeah. Yeah. So, and people who are virtually, I think Rochelle and Brian will bring you that money. So please don't keep them waiting in the waiting room. They'll bring money. They'll bring you all your money. And so let's ask question.
Question about outreach program. If the physician go to patient home on my behalf and do the wellness, who will get the money? Does my practice get the money, or the physician would do the wellness?
Very good question. I'm glad you asked that question. That is very good question. Let me tell you, if you are looking your PMPM, and your PMPM is more than benchmark, you're not going to get check. Okay. So if you have like 10 patients who not going to visit you, who going to stay and they go to a hospital for lunch and dinner, okay, those patients need to go and focus, and they're going to do annual wellness visit. They're going to get the money, but your PMPM will go down. And once it go down, in the end of the year, you're going to get the check. Is that right? Can you explain that a little bit more? Because Dr. Desai, I really want to know that.
And second thing, once they do the wellness exam, then I lose the patient.
No.
So the
No.
physician who do the wellness, patient go to him. Or
No. I'm glad. That's very good question. You will not lose that patient. That patient going to be yours, but he's going to see you when he's healthy. He's not going to see you when he's sick and require more care.
But then he may come after 2 years. So what's the use?
Maybe 2 years, 1 year. What I'm saying is, let me tell you. Let's explain that a little bit better.
One more thing. Now we are doing CCM RPM. So our company call the patient regular basis, almost twice a month. So patients are taken care of well. So I don't think any need for outreach physician to go, because we already get information from a company who doing CCM RPM for me. So they text me every day what the patient need, whether the patient is sick, whether he needs to the medication, need to go to hospital or to see me immediately. So I think we are not causing a problem with CCM RPM, because then what happens, the patient will think there are 4 or 5 times they are getting the call from the different doctors or different companies, and sometimes they get fed up and they don't want to do it. So I think CCM RPM are working good for me, and I think there's no need for a physician to go there and take away my patient. That's my point.
Good, very good. So anybody disagree, agree with him?
I think you can still do your RPM and CCM and have them manage the more complex problems that your patients are having. I don't see why you cannot continue to do that, right?
Good. I just want to, how about you? Do you agree, disagree with Dr. Desai?
Mostly the patient won't come in because they're bedbound. They're sick, and they're the only ones seeing them. So that's the main.
So the outreach program is designed to provide extensive care to a patient at home, so they don't go to the hospital or ER. But they are so weak, they need so much help, they won't come to you. Yeah, those patients, those are the only patients we're looking for outreach. So when you look at the blue sky, you're going to see that 10 of these patients has gone 10 times to the emergency room last 2 years, 2 months. Then suddenly realize that these 10 patients, like Dr. Plaster mentioned, that 5% of population get 50% or 75% of expenses. So those are the patients, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Those are the patients we're looking for outreach program.
One of the main purposes is if you have a patient that's costing you $200,000, you kind of want that patient to fall off your panel. So it's good for the outreach to pick that up, because it's in the long run, it's gonna cost you your savings. That one patient could potentially.
But main focus of outreach program is to make that patient healthy, who is weak, who cannot go to the hospital, they have very limited resources, they don't even know what medicine they're taking. So outreach program, when they go to home, they're checking out, they really, I mean, you saw how much they love it. 93% patients love outreach program. And so it's a paradigm shift that the world going to change, where you're going to see outreach program everywhere.
You can still do the RPM, CCM after a few days, or no?
Sure.
Yes. You don't have to wait for 1 month to do.
No. That has nothing to, no. Medicare very clear about that.
And one more question about Advantage Plan. Until we start Advantage Plan of our own, we are going to lose a patient to establish Advantage Plan, United Humana, because he was telling that and the patient they come and say, okay, doctor, you are on this plan, I want to go because I get free eye exam, free hearing aid, free dental thing. So they are going to switch. So we are going to lose the ACO members. So that's my point. So like if you wait too long, our ACO number will go down. Because patient want to go to the Advantage plan, they don't care because they want to save money also.
So you want our program to
To
start
start soon, if you want to.
soon means tomorrow or soon
Yeah,
next
today.
year?
Start today.
I would like to comment on Dr. Desai's question. So Dr. Desai is a founder, he's a board member, and he's a top performing PCP. As a PCP, you have two options. You can manage all of your patients in the office. Care Tracker is a great tool for that. But we've been doing this for 8 years. And sometimes the physicians are like, I just can't manage my PMPM. Dr. Desai doesn't have that problem. He's managing his PMPM. But some of the doctors, they're out of options with the office-based practice. So that's where outreach comes into play. For the patients you can't manage, for the patients that can't come into the offices, for the patients that are out of the scope, that is a good solution. Dr. Desai, maybe you don't need that because you're doing it all. But if one day down the road, you don't like your payment and you can't manage your PMPM, that's when outreach is the solution. And I just want to recognize Dr. Plaster. Did you see that all she was doing for COVID? So many patients are very uncomfortable with people coming to the house. She's really trying to go above and beyond to make sure that when you do send that referral, that the patient does accept it.
So anybody, before we go to lunch, please raise your hand. We will answer all your questions. Because these questions, do we have any question from virtual? Check it out. Virtual audience, so we can make sure they feel home too. We want them to feel like they're part of this conversation.
I just wanted to repeat the question I asked earlier. Can we use outreach program for Medicare Advantage patients?
Okay. Medicare Advantage patient. Why not? Why can't they use Medicare Advantage? Yeah. Medicare Advantage, I think logically, Medicare Advantage patient, if both focused people are on that plan, they can go and see the patient. Yeah, so that's up to them. So we don't, if they are available, yes. If they're not available, no. But if they are, the Advantage will pay for it. Her question was, if her patient is sick, who require extra attention, but patient has Medicare Advantage program, can focus, go to her house and take care of that patient. So the answer is, it depends upon the focused physician is on that plan or not. If they're not on the plan, then they won't able to go ahead. Go ahead.
The Medicare Advantage, the doctor is assigned that patient, and the focused doctor going out to see the patient would not be the Medicare Advantage assigned doctor, and therefore would not be reimbursed. That's the only reason that the patient couldn't use that program.
You're right. You're totally right. So Medicare Advantage will tell you, so when you lose the freedom, they will tell you which doctor can be seen by a physician. And if that physician doesn't want to go to home and the focused physician is not on the plan, that's not going to work.
I'm Bob Aramili from SciMed. I came a little late. What are our expenses in ACO?
Well, it's all on YouTube. All on YouTube.
I'm sorry.
So what he want to know, what are our expenses? So do we have slides we can show?
What is the fund available for distribution?
So this is all available. All slides are available and all the information available, right? And everything we did is recorded. So it's all available. It will be available on website.
Yes. So Bob,
what do you want to do?
We're very transparent. So it's $5 PMPM fixed price, and then after that amount, then the entire distribution goes to the investors and the physicians, and most of you are also investors. So then it goes to you twice, and it's going to be about $5 million for distribution today.
So why don't we restart the program? Everybody ready to go another round? So let's show that slide. Can we show that slide, expense slide, one slide?
We can do this question in the meantime. Can you put it up to my presentation? So we have a question here. It says, can we use Care Tracker for specialists? Generally, no. Care Tracker is designed to get PCP patients back in your office. 99% of our specialists, they're just the consultant for the patient, and they admit they're not the PCP. So If you use Care Tracker and you're a specialist, you should get the patient to see a PCP. There's not much shared savings for a specialist when you have a PCP who potentially is not performing. So you got to make sure that patient has a PCP. You got to make sure that patient is managed. It's okay if they fall out of the ACO. We just want to make sure all of our patients are managed. Here you go, Bob. So it's $6.6 million. It's $5 PMPM for 2 years. So it helps when the ACO makes money every year because the expenses don't accrue. But if you have an off year, you got to pay it for 2 years. So it's $5 million savings today. 30% goes to the investors of 2014. Many of you are those investors. And then all of you are RM investors. 20% goes to you there. And then the remaining 50% goes to the practices.
I think you need to, why don't you sit down with him? He can go over everything. Yeah. One by one. Yeah. Otherwise, everybody you want to go another round? No.
Yeah.
He will personally go with you. All right. Anybody else? So any question from remote people? Is there any more questions? So let me tell you what we need to do is cheer up Daryl.
All right.
Jack up there. Jack. And our team, Don and Burr. What's your friend name? Dennis. Dennis. Let's do some. Thank you. Very good. Let's go and take your check and we will meet you downstairs.